Hello and welcome to Running with Georgia. Today we are doing my beginner runners review of the Puma Deviate Nitro Elite 2. This is one of Puma's full carbon plate racing shoes that I think offers great versatility over a range of runs. This is from the perspective of a beginner runner. I've only been running consistently since February of this year, so about 5 months. So please bear that in mind when you're hearing me talk about the shoe. My idea of a slow, fast and long run will vary significantly from athletes that have been running for a lot longer. So please do bear that in mind as we go on through the review. I have also not tried the first version of this shoe, so while I will be talking on later about the differences between this iteration and the previous one, that's just from research I've done. It's not from personal experience with that other shoe. And also, I've not been running enough to experience, a really wider range of shoes. So this is just going off of my opinion based on other shoes that I have run in. So by no means do I have an in-depth knowledge as maybe some other reviews out there, but I thought it would be important to give you the perspective from someone who is a beginner runner. So before we actually dive into the review, it'd mean a lot to me if you at any point liked what you're seeing today. If you could please like, comment, and maybe even consider subscribing for any future content that I make. Any likes would greatly help me out and make me know that you like to see this kind of content, so I'll make more reviews in the future. Without further ado, let's crack on. Firstly, let's go through the basics in terms of construction, colours, and some stats. So this is the colorway that I've gone in. As you can see, it's kind of a blue to a neon greeny color. On the Puma UK website, it also comes in a blue with white option, or white with blue option, and then there is also the 75th anniversary edition, which is quite cool. It's like a half black, half white with some gold accents. I did think that one looked cool, but I just don't really feel comfortable getting white running shoes because they're never going to stay that way. The shoe is made with a mono mesh upper. It's really lightweight, and it disappears on the foot when you've got it tightened down. However, it has been reinforced with Puma's power tape technology. These tape bits run along the arch, the outside there, and then also along the toe box, just to add a little bit of more structure to there. Although this is a really thin and lightweight material, it does feel really durable. I have snagged it on a couple of sticks, rocks, and things like that, and it's still held up really, really well. Then you have, obviously on the midsole, you have the Puma Nitro Elite foam. This is a nitrogen infused midsole, and it's really nice, soft and responsive. The tongue here is one of the areas that have changed more significantly from the previous version. So it's got a little bit more padding. I think it's just enough that you don't feel the extra weight. It's not too bulky, but you don't feel those laces digging into you when you've got it on foot. It does also have some perforations there for breathability and also to make the shoe a little bit more lightweight. On the topic of being lightweight, these are heavier than the previous Nitro Elites, but from research that I've done, looking into it, people that have tried the previous one and this one, although this one has gained a little bit of weight, it does still feel like a faster shoe. So don't really worry too much about that weight difference. In my UK men's 8.5 that I run in, this weighed 219 grams. Part of that weight increase, I believe, is due to the fact that the carbon plate, which you can see here, Puma's power plate, on the previous one in this forefoot, the toe box area, it was a split plate. From feedback they got from not only their elite athletes but also consumers, that led to a little bit of instability. So they made it a full carbon plate in the forefoot, completely solid, and not that split there as well. Another difference from the first shoe that they did is they've got a more substantial heel counter. They got quite a lot of feedback from the last version that the heel was a little bit hard and rigid and would dig into people's heels. So they've added quite substantial padding to the top part of the heel counter. It only goes about halfway. So from there downwards, it's very, very minimal. There's almost no padding at all there. In fact, I think there is no padding. It's just the the TPU heel counter material there. But the padding they've got up at the top half of it is very plush. It is nice, and the material they've got there, it's interesting. So it kind of, if you imagine fibers pointing down like that, so just going on like that, it makes it's nice and smooth when you put your feet in, but your socks, they don't ride up because they get caught on those fibers that are pointing down. So it does make for a really nice, secure heel there. The drop of this shoe, there's some debate about the drop. On the official Puma website, they categorize this as an 8mm drop. Some other reviewers have said it feels more like a 6mm drop. This is something that, as a beginner runner that's not really tried many shoes, I can't really, say, oh, that feels, not like an 8mm drop. It just feels like a comfortable shoe. Yeah, I've not really been running enough and enough shoes to be able to tell the difference really between, just a slight difference in drop like that. So I'm going to give it the benefit of a doubt and say that it's an 8mm drop, just from what Puma's websites say. There is a little bit of some misleading description on the Puma UK website, at least. They're saying in the description that this is 20 grams lighter than the previous Deviate model. And that is true. It's lighter than the previous Deviate model, but not the Deviate Elite model. So a little bit misleading there, because as we have already discussed, this is heavier than the Deviate Nitro Elite 1. So just bear that in mind when you're reading that description. I feel like that is a little bit misleading. On the top here, you have some thicker sections, obviously, for the laces to go in. There is a space there for a runner's knot. As we'll go into later in the fit section, I've not needed to use that, but it is there if you do need it. And then on the bottom here, we have Puma's Puma Grip outsole. This is a really, really nice outsole. It's really grippy. It's got plenty of coverage, and it does go well in a lot of variety of different conditions, like we'll discuss later on. The insole is just a basic foam insole. It's about 4mm thick in the toe box area, just in case you did want to swap that out later on for maybe an orthopedic insole. It's 4mm, so just bear that in mind. So those are the kind of stats that you can just get from Googling it, obviously seeing the colour and reading more about the padding. But as for it feels like on foot, I have taken this on a variety of runs in different terrains and weather conditions. And it's coped well on all of them, and it felt really comfortable in those long runs. I could still go slowly in these if I wanted to. But then when you do pick up the pace, it's really, really good. It feels really snappy and responsive. You can see there's like almost no flex there. It's a really rigid carbon plate in there. And even when I first put them on and I was just walking around, you could definitely feel it pushing you forward off the front there really quickly. So it does mean that you can pick up the pace a lot better. Obviously, I don't really know how quick it feels in comparison to other carbon shoes. But I could definitely feel that it is a lot snappier than my other shoes that I do have. And that grip, like I said, when I first got it, I felt it and I was like, oh, is this the grip that everyone's going on about? It kind of feels that it wouldn't really grip. Yeah, it felt a bit harder. But once you take it out, and I did like a couple of kilometers on the treadmill just to try them out, once that top layer was kind of scrubbed off, the grip is really, really good. I've used this obviously on roads in dry and wet, including a spell where it had been really dry for quite a while, and then it suddenly rained quite a bit, so all of like the petrol and grease on the road had gone to the top, so it was quite slippy, but this did really well in that. Wet manhole covers as well, gravel, grass, mud. Not too thick mud. I do think, you certainly wouldn't be able to get away with this for like a full like trail shoe if it was really muddy, just because the lugs aren't very good. You probably want a dedicated trail shoe for that. But for all other conditions, I think this is a really, really great shoe. Grip-wise, you're not really going to be struggling for grip in any condition, in my opinion. And then the foam, it feels really comfortable for those longer, slow rides, but because of that nitrogen infusion there, it's really lightweight, but it's also, their Nitro Elite foam is really responsive and propulsive. So when you do want to go faster, it really can handle it. And I've really enjoyed running faster sessions in this shoe. And I've had no issues on the run of any heel slippage. Even I don't feel the need to do a runner's knot in this shoe. Just even with it just on that loop there, it feels really comfortable. I can get a good lockdown in there, and there's no movement. I've never had any rubbing or chafing or anything like that. It's been comfortable on any sort of run that I've done. So let's talk about the fit of the shoe then. So for me, this shoe fits true to size. I run in a UK men's 8.5. I do think though that you probably want to try that on, because I think I'm a little bit strange with my shoe habits. While my arch area of my foot isn't necessarily wide, my toe spread is quite large. So I find that as I'm already running in an 8.5, I can get away with the men's shoes, and it gives me a little bit of a wider feel in the toe box, which I prefer. Some reviewers have said that the toe box is quite narrow when they've had their shoes on. So I would definitely recommend trying them on if possible, because although it's true to size to me, feet are very, very different. And then if you can't find a pair in store to try on, which I would always recommend, like there was no stores within like 100 miles of me that I could try this on in person. Try and find a store, like an online shop that has a decent return policy, so you can at least get like an indoor run in just to try how they feel on. But for me, yeah, true to size in my 8.5, about thumb's width from the front, which is how I like it. And I had enough space in there, even though it was quite tight when I cinched it up around the arch area. Because this mono mesh is really thin and flexible, it kind of disappears on foot, at least for me. And it was a really comfortable fit. Like I said earlier, this tongue is, I think, just the right balance of padded and then really lightweight, because it kind of disappears on foot. You don't feel the laces on, and it's not got unnecessarily added bulk. It is a butterfly shaped tongue, which means it's never dug into any of my socks at all. It's just been a really, really comfortable fit all around for me. That extra padding around the heel counter is really nice. I've not felt any rubbing on this lower area that doesn't have the padding. But again, your experience may vary. All feet are very, very different, and what is comfortable for some may not be comfortable for others. This is a neutral shoe, so if you were wanting something with a little bit more support, it might not be the one for you. But again, as far as fit is concerned, I'd always recommend trying them on in person if possible. And if that's not possible, finding an online retailer that has a good return policy, just in case it's not the right size and you need to exchange it for a size up or a size down. So before I get to my sort of wrap up and then talking about prices, I just wanted to go over a couple of cons I have with the shoes, some things I'm not totally in love with. There are only two things I want to address in this section, and they are really, really small, because in general I really do like the shoe and I've enjoyed my experience with it. The first one being regarding the grip on the bottom of the shoe. I really like the Puma grip, as I've discussed. I just wish that on this section of the shoe that they had covered it more in that outsole, that outer grip like they have on this side. Just because I can already see, it's hard to see on camera, but there is already some sort of rubbing of the foam there, and I feel like this is already a really durable shoe compared to other carbon racers that don't have that outsole. And I feel like it would be even better if they just had a little bit on there. But who knows? I'm not a shoe designer. There's probably a good reason why they didn't pop it on there. But I know that they have it on the Velocity Nitro, the full grip along that edge as well. So just something that I'd have liked to see. And then the other thing that I'm not, that I'd like to see an improvement on, it's not a big deal. Neither was that grip there. But I wish they came in more shoe colors. I think that in general in the Puma range, I'm a big fan of Puma as a brand. They used to be the clothing supplier of one of my favorite Formula One teams. So I have a lot of their kit that's really good, and I do like them as a company. I just feel like in general their shoes look a little bit boring or bland, and I think having more color options would be better. I like the look of this shoe. It definitely looks fast, which is what you want in a shoe that is supposed to go fast. But yeah, I mean, their other color options basically just being blue and white, just flipping over I would say, you know, they could do with having some more colours in there. So my overall verdict of the Puma Deviate Nitro Elite 2, other than having too long of a name to really be able to roll off the tongue, I love this shoe. I think it's a really fun shoe that I'm happy picking up every single day for whatever run I'm going on. I've actually had to stop myself reaching for the shoe all the time because I do have a rotation of shoes and I don't want to wear these out too quickly. But it's a really fun shoe that's really easy to pick up, especially if you're going out and you're not entirely sure what run you're going to do and you just want to kind of go by feel. It's a really great shoe for that. It's really, really versatile. If the weather turns, you know, you're not going to be slipping and sliding because of that grip. It can do a lot of things. And depending on how you feel about having a plated daily trainer, I think genuinely, other than if you did want a more dedicated trail shoe for those sloppier, muddier runs, I think this would do really, really well for everything. And it's not too bad of a price either. So we'll discuss that. So the RRP for this shoe is £175 in the UK. However, Puma always have deals going on, not necessarily on their own website, but they don't exclude this shoe from discount codes on other websites. Say like Nike will maybe exclude like the Vaporflies and the Alpha Flies from discounts. Puma doesn't, and so I managed to get this for £148 because I found a discount code from Pro Direct Running. So yeah, I'd say £175. I'd still be happy with that price if I'd got it, but for £148, I'm ecstatic. And I think it's a really great value, especially if you can nab a deal on it, which you will be able to if you just show a little bit of patience, look around for a discount code. It'll be somewhere for at least 10% off, minus 15% off, I think thereabouts. But value wise, it's a great shoe. Even if it was £175, I would be really, really happy because it is so versatile. The durability on there, I've taken this for quite a lot of kilometers now. And other than that very minor sort of rubbing of the foam there, and the fact that obviously the paint on the bottom of the sole has gone away, big deal, I don't really care. Other than that, the durability, yeah, I can see the shoe going for a long, long time. There's been no noticeable loss of bounce in that foam. I'll do an update on that though when I've kind of run these into the ground. I'll let you know what distance I got to for that. But that is the end of the review. I hope I've covered everything here. It's the first shoe review I've done, so I'm sure I've missed something. So, you know, go down in the comments and let me know what I missed. But a great shoe is the main thing to take away here. And whether you buy it at full RRP of £175 or you get a deal, it's good value either way. And this is definitely my favourite shoe in my rotation, and I love it, and I will be continuing to use it. And once this pair fall apart, I will no doubtably be buying another pair of this shoe, or maybe even the threes if they've come out by that point. So that is it for this video today. If you have this shoe, please let me know how you feel about it down in the comments below. And if you did like this video, please like, comment, and consider subscribing. I've only got a few videos out on the channel following my training journey, but I do want to get more reviews in there, like this one here. I've got one coming up with a pair of open ear earphones that I think will be really good as well. So please subscribe and consider clicking that bell to be notified of any new videos that I put out. Please let me know if there's any other shoes you think I should try, you think I might like, and I will see you in the next video.